Hey everyone, it's Rayce Robinson, your favorite Florida mortgage broker, coming to you with June and July numbers here in the Central Florida market. And it's hard to believe that in March, the entire country was shutting down. Fast forward to this summer, really this whole summer across the nation in real estate, and it's been a record-setting few months of people buying and refinancing, really the biggest mortgage volume of all time. And I'm not going to say I told you so, but I did tell you so. I did a few videos. I wrote an article here locally saying that I felt this summer would be some of the busiest of all time because the Fed would be involved in the market. We'd have all-time lows in rates. And then two, most of the people I was talking to in March and April weren't saying they weren't going to buy. They were just holding off. So as the restrictions let up, especially here in Florida, really that demand just went through the roof. Lack of inventory, a few different things has really helped to drive the market again here, but really all over the country. So I want to go over the numbers real quick here locally, and then I want to cover something I'm getting asked all the time, which is this party going to end, right? In 2008-9 was the Great Recession, which in my mind doesn't seem that long ago. And so there is some fear, right? People are saying like, how long can this last? I think it's been a 14-year run for real estate. So I'm going to answer the best to my knowledge what you should be looking for and my kind of thoughts on that. But let's look at the numbers here locally first. Okay, so here in Central Florida, I have the numbers here. But remember, nationwide, the average price is up 10%. Inventory is down like 30%. So again, these numbers are really mimicked all over the United States. So when you see the news and whatever, really one bright spot of all the craziness has been the real estate market. And so when you look at May, there were 7,000 homes on the market. Right now, there are 6,200 homes on the market here in Central Florida. For a market as big as Central Florida, that is like just ridiculously low. I'm looking all the way from June of 2018 to July of 2020, and there are no months where we've ever had 6,200 homes in inventory. So that tells you how low of a number that is. New listings is up. In May was 3,700. We're 4,156 in July. New contracts went from 3,572 to 3,700. And new sales closed went from 2,127 in May to 3,679. Average days on the market went from 48 to 54. So those are the main numbers. And really all the numbers that you would think have improved, right? Sales have increased. There have been more people, the listings have increased because more people are saying, hey, it's a good time to sell the house. Obviously people are saying it's a great time to buy with rates so low. And then obviously inventory keeps dropping, even though people are listing more, those houses are getting bought up. And you're seeing that if you're a buyer right now, you realize if you're trying to buy a house, that there's a lot of competition. What's driving that? Again, low inventory, low rates, and just a lot of people taking advantage of both selling and buying a house in a good market. So there's no question that the real estate market is super healthy. The builders are building. I mean, everything is really firing. So the question, is really not, is this a good market? The really big question that I think about and I get asked is, is it going to continue to be a good market? And remember, all markets fluctuate. I've said this in many videos in the past. Every market is cyclical. Regardless of COVID and anything that's happened, real estate, stock markets, precious metals, they're all cyclical. They're going to have highs and they're going to go through lows. And so that's just the nature of the beast. So for real estate, we've been on a 14-year run. What I like to look at instead of emotion and instead of just saying like, well, it has to change sometime, like, what are the things that you would want to be looking at? What are some of the factors that are going to play into changing some of these numbers that could impact us going forward? Really not so much this year, but definitely into 2021. 2021 is right around the corner. I can't believe it. And so the thing to look at is this. I think any playbook or any video I've watched, you have to throw the playbook out the window at this point because we've never went through this before. The GDP's down, unemployment's up. A lot of these things were artificially made, meaning we stopped the presses, right? We shut everything down. And so the question, the reason I think the playbook doesn't work is we really don't know how this is going to impact. I was reading 3.4 million jobs are permanently gone, and never to come back. And then there's an eviction moratorium. There's a foreclosure moratorium. So those numbers are really yet to play out, and how those things are going to get handled have not really been decided. Of course, we're going into an election year, and regardless of your opinion on the candidates, each side has a different way that they're kind of looking into it. But really, ultimately, whatever side wins, they're going to be inheriting some really, really big problems. Here's the factors that I'm looking at. I own real estate. I am a real estate investor, and I have my money in the real estate market. So one, I'm really curious to see how the foreclosure thing plays out, because when your forbearance time is done, are the banks going to let people roll that onto the back of the loan, or are they going to make people catch those payments up? Some of that is not even in the bank's hands, has a lot to do with their back-end investors and Fannie and Freddie. It's really interesting to see how all that's going to play out. So one thing to look at is if the banks start, there's record numbers of delinquencies right now, but that's because a lot of people aren't making their payment. The real question is, when the CARES Act ends, and if it doesn't get extended, but eventually it will end, what are the banks going to do with those late payments? If you haven't made your payment in 6 months, are they going to allow that to be rolled onto the back of the loan, or are they going to call that money due? If they call that money due, you're going to see a record number of foreclosures, guaranteed. And so that's one big thing to see, how is that going to play out? Two, the eviction moratorium. Eventually, people are going to have to start paying rent again. I know people that I know that own 20, 30 houses actually that are not getting rent on any of them, right? So how's that all going to play out? Again, a complicated problem, because if the renters aren't paying rent, those people aren't paying their mortgage. Of course, their mortgages are in forbearance, or they've quit making their payments. At some point, all that has to get worked out. Are the tenants, are they going to be required to pay all that back rent, which is how it's set up right now? But if they don't have to pay all that back rent, then what are all the people that have been floating those mortgage payments if their lender comes in and says, well, you owe us all our payments? So all that has to play out. And the truth is, I've thought it through myself, it's complicated. And so one thing to pay attention to is how that's going to affect kind of the overall real estate market and rental market. And then the other part of that is, a lot of people are being subsidized by the government. That's all going to end too, even if it gets extended, but it's definitely winding down. At the same time, the PPP money, which I've done videos on, the Paycheck Protection Program, and if there's less jobs in the market, what's going to be the real unemployment rate? Because it's hard to know what the real unemployment rate is, even though it's been dropping with the new numbers. I think somewhere around 10% or so. Don't quote me on that. But there's so many numbers that are hidden on that. People that aren't looking for jobs anymore, people that have taken part-time jobs just to get by, but it really isn't covering their income. But it is right now, maybe why they're not paying rent, or they're getting the spouse or partner is getting some kind of unemployment. That's why the playbook really has to be thrown out, because that all has to get through the market and played out to really know what's going to happen, because that could really affect the way people are spending money. It could affect, obviously, the amount of foreclosures in the market. And there are people predicting, massive amount of foreclosures. And again, no one really knows how the banks, how the government, how the free market is going to handle that whole big problem that's been created by, was created by shutting everything down through COVID. The other number to look at is inventory, because so goes inventory, so goes the market. And really, that is kind of the key number to be looking at. If inventory starts really, really growing, in my mind, that would be a sign that things are changing. And that doesn't mean you're going to have a massive recession, but it does mean things are changing. Again, markets are cyclical. So that's really the key number that I look at, and not just here, but across the nation, right? These other markets, big markets, like how is their inventory doing? And in general, most inventory is low in most big markets. So that is another bellwether number to watch, because I really don't think rates are going to increase. There's just no way the government, my opinion, pushes rates up. Now, if inflation starts coming into the market, that in the past would mean the Fed would raise rates. But again, I don't know if they can do that right now. So again, it's one of those, I'm not an economist, a very complicated thing that typically, the playbook on as inflation goes up, as you bump up rates, they may not be able to do that this time. And that can create things like stagflation and other things that people are worried about. So again, that's kind of what is that? Past my pedigree as far as I'm not a market forecaster or an economist. But again, there are some interesting things to play out. So I'd be watching the foreclosures, the evictions, the rental moratorium, and then look at inventory across the nation, and then really just rates, kind of how they're hanging in there. My opinion is that in 2021, the market slows down a little bit. A lot of these things get between the government and the free market and whatever get played out in a way that hopefully hurts the least amount of people. There are going to be people that do get hurt, just because these jobs are gone, and there are going to be people that get evicted and all these, lose houses. So there's going to be some of that. There's just no way around it. But really, it's a question of how that all plays out, and on a macro level, and then looking at inventory and things like that. So again, I think as inventory stays low, really not a lot changes. And then that's a number to watch through that. I'll personally be watching to 2021 is the inventory, and just kind of see what's going on, especially in other markets across the United States. So hopefully that helps. I'm definitely not a sky is falling kind of guy, and I really don't think 2021 is going to bring this giant market catastrophe. But anyone that tells you they know what's going to happen, 100% run for the hills, because they don't. So that's my 2 cents. I'll keep you updated on the numbers here in Central Florida. Call me if you have any questions. Remember, no lender fees. Best deal on a mortgage. Just easy to understand mortgage advice. That's what I do. Call me if you have any questions. Hope you have your own personal recovery. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.